Hello, welcome to the Sovereign Magazine Show, a transformational experience where conscious conversations meet embodied wisdom. Each episode invites visionary healers, thought leaders, and change makers to share their journeys of awakening, offering listeners practical tools and soul stirring insights to reclaim their inner authority. Today, we have the absolute amazing Heather Ruth. We are going on a very long journey to learn about the cards of destiny, all about birth charts and planetary rulers and life spreads and all sorts of fun things. So if all of those things sound interesting to you, definitely like, share, and subscribe because we're going to be going on about a 9 or 10 week journey on these things together.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce yourself, Heather, and then we'll go into what are the cards of destiny because you definitely threw me off when we first met. I'm like, I've never heard of this before. I'm so fascinated.
Amazing. This is so good. Yeah, I'm Heather Ruth. I am a numerologist and coach, an intuitive coach, and I really do help people connect with their truest essence. So the feelings that they're feeling inside, I really help them translate that through the use of numerology, and my own intuitive aspects. I've trained in neural psychology. So I understand that science and spirituality come together, especially with this system and within ourselves. So that's what I do.
Okay. Share what the cards of destiny are because I'm sure people have heard of numerology and I'm sure people have heard of astrology, but what are the cards of destiny?
Yeah, so really the cards of destiny is a system that is thought back to be, as far as we can see or do research, back to the times of Atlantis. And really it's a fractal-based ancient calendar for Earth, which is,
Okay,
for
share
a lot
more.
of people, that's really big, right? Like you're like, oh, what does that mean? So
Yeah.
we're all used to the Gregorian calendar and how that unfolds, that man-made sort of system that was put in place. Well, this system has been on the planet for years, obviously, if we're talking back to Atlantean times, and it is a calendar of how the energy unfolds for us here on planet Earth if
Okay.
we were really like following that sort of system. And so it's written in colors, it's written in numbers, and it's written in symbols, right? So we know that we're looking through these kinds of lenses to really find how we move on this planet individually, and then also within that collective energetics. We start to feel and understand other people through that symbology and through the frequency of numbers. And it's
And I,
also linked to astrology. So it's an astrological numerological system because the planets have a really big role in this.
yes. Okay, I want to kind of start at the basics because I
Yeah.
was totally mind blown when you told me that there are seasons in a deck of cards. Gosh, that was weird. I
Yeah.
couldn't get that out.
Yeah.
What are the seasons?
Yeah, so we have so we what we do is we have the symbology. So the deck of cards, or we could call it the book of life, as some people may have labeled it, the destiny of cards. It's just a name of a system. And we can name it anything we want. But really, a lot of people have referred to this as the book of life, or the book being the deck of cards.
Okay.
Okay. And so through that, we look at different things. And so we have the seasons. So it's really like the symbology of it. And so you have to look at the symbols on the cards to begin with. And so we have the spades. And the spades really are connected and representative of winter. That's the time when we're really doing deep inner work, where we're really reflecting back on inside ourselves. It's got a spiritual component to it, as well as it's tied to our work. I'm actually a firm believer without spirituality, sometimes our work can feel really flat in this aspect. And so by weaving them together through the aspects of the spades, it's always calling us higher. And so if we've never noticed, but if you want to fit it into the Gregorian calendar, the spades start in January. And we're always looking to up level ourselves. We're always looking to like that turn of the year, right? That New Year's kind of thing may not have existed back in Atlantean times, but they knew that in deep winter, wherever it was, you were always going through these deep inner reflections. You were leveling up. You were learning from the year past behind you. And so the spades are really bringing that forward. And you're looking at things like work, you're looking at things like health, and you're looking at things like my connection to spirit, God, universe, whatever that is for you. And so then the next sort of unfolding is everything begins in the heart, right? Spring is birthed there. So the hearts represent spring. They're connected to that birthing, that relational. We're coming out of hibernation. We're really looking at that. But the way we look at our calendar today, the hearts actually don't start to show up until the end of our calendar summer. And there's strategic reasons for that, but that's because we've moved calendar dates opposed
Mhm.
from the original footprint. Now,
Mhm.
summer is linked to clubs. Clubs is all about expression, communication. It's about gathering. When you think about it, it's like thought bubbles in the form of that club. And so we're
Mhm.
always out there exploring and looking for new things. So it's really representative of summertime. And then the
Mhm.
fall is associated with diamonds. We want to really think about we open things up in the heart, we plant seeds, we get things going. We go through summer, we express, we watch things grow, we like watch this evolution. And then in the fall, we want to harvest everything that we planted in the spring. And that's what diamonds represent. They're usually linked to things like finances, values, those kinds of pieces. It's like we really start to see that in like tangibility in our lives through that diamonds and thinking about how a diamond is actually formed is through a lot of great pressure.
Wow,
So
so
it's
fascinating.
it is super cool. And then in this system, we can look at things right from your whole life span. So the lessons that your planetary lessons that you're going to go through linked to the cards that are like influencing that information. We can look at your 13 layer year, which is more like your seasonality. So we go through these 13 layers of evolution in
Mhm.
our lifetime. And then
Mhm.
we can look at things like our 7 year and our 7 week and then our weekly energetics. So it gives you these really beautiful layers to kind of go, okay, like what is really happening here? Now, I don't call this a map per se, but it's really a compass
Mm. A compass for each person.
for each person. It's here to wake us up to that uniqueness that is who we are. Because you can look at a lot of astrology, and I love astrology, do not get me wrong. And I'm like diving down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes in that regard. But we get really tied to things like I'm an Aries. And then we live on that label. Whereas I really believe we have to look at the nuances in between. And I thoroughly do believe that this system is that. It is the
Mm.
nuances. It is what brings in a lot more of our free will, of understanding who we are. Because we're not always finite, we're always moving,
Yeah, yeah. I
right?
love nuance because what I have learned, I would say in the last probably 3 years, I've been on this journey for six, but I didn't really understand until probably the last 3 years, really definitely the last year, that I am so cyclical that I'm just not the same person all the time, which we're not supposed to be. But
Mm.
it's nice to know a lot of people at the beginning of the year in our community were talking about, I'm still in winter. Like, I think, were you one of the ones that
I
posted?
am always. Yeah,
You're like, I'm still in winter. Like, I haven't come out of it. It's January 1st for everybody else, but I'm still like tucked away. And I
yeah,
love that because that was kind of how I was feeling for the first week of January, maybe even 2 weeks, that I felt like I should still be in winter a little bit more and, really recognizing that season. And so, yeah, where do we go from here? So I know we've talked about the suits, if you will, but what
yeah.
about the colors?
Yeah, so the colors are really, really indicative. And we only have two. And so black are the indications of like more inner work, right? They really represent nighttime. What do we do at night? We sit, maybe we journal. Some people journal in the morning, some people may journal at night, but you really are in reflection of your whole day. How did I talk about myself? How did I express my work into the world? What did I communicate like? Was that really worth it? You really look at that. So those clubs, those spade colors, those dark colors are really like I call the introspective ones. They're the ones that want you to go in and look at what did we love about today and what did we maybe not like about today? And were we willing to alter and change any of that habitualness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the red is really dedicated to daytime type energetics. It's like that. outward expression. It's that sharing with other people. You know, when we're talking about value, we're sharing it from our heart. Heart wants to come forward in relationships, and it really wants us to blossom. So it's like what we're going to share into the world. It's that daytime type energetics. So a little bit lighter. And
Mhm.
what I love about this system is like those four suits are those seasons. And then the five plus the two, so the 52 cards, actually represents the 77 days of the week. Five plus two is seven, right? We really want to start to see that. The 52 cards represents the 52 weeks of the year.
Oh my gosh, you're making so many parallels right now. Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
so then the 13 cards in suit, so every suit of cards has 13 cards in it. Those represent the moon cycles.
Gosh.
So it's
Okay.
linked to that lunar, it's like linked cycle. It's linked to the 13, not 12 zodiacs like we've always been taught, but it's linked to the number 13, which we've always been sort of like removing in humanity in certain ways. You notice you go to a hotel, there's never a floor set 13. People have always thought that Friday the 13th was a like suspicious day. Well, actually, it was an auspicious day. It was a very important day for women, especially back in the day, for more conjuring, more solution, like that aspect of it. And then we have the 12 core cards. So the queens, the kings, the jacks, right? So for every suit that adds up to 12, those represent the 12 months of the year.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, so it can go all the way down. Now, here's the caveat. Every face spot represents 364 days. So you actually add up all the face spots, you get 364 days. If you were to count every single card from every suit, you would get 364 days. But we have that one little fun day, that December 31st, and that is the Joker Day. That is the 1.25 days accounting for the whole year. So if we
Okay.
actually had a structure that was more like what February was like this year, like the 4 weeks and 28 days months, we would actually have 13 months.
Right. Yes,
Right.
I'm following you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
that Joker is so special. People that are born on the 21st of December really don't have the same energetic signature that some of us will, that we're carrying different cards.
The 21st or the
The
31st?
31st, sorry, the
Yeah.
31st.
Okay. Just it
Yeah.
was like I was
Sorry.
really
Yeah.
listening attentively and I swore she said 31st. Okay.
Yeah, December
Okay.
31st is that Joker day. It's sort of like they're the jester of the bunch. So if you really want to think about how ancient times worked, how it worked in the court of the kings and the queens, the jester was the one person that could make fun of the king, make fun of the queen, make fun of the whole court and never be punished.
Mm. Okay.
So
Okay.
they're here to shake things up in the world.
Okay. I hope I'm not going to ruin some of our next shows because I know we have them pre-planned, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
dying to know. Two questions.
know. Yeah,
Number one, I know you put these cards up on a calendar somehow. You have them on your wall or
I
something.
do. Yeah.
Does that change or does that stay the same? Do you move them around per year?
Yes, okay. So that is such an amazing question because yes. So what I have on my wall is I have the life spread and then the spiritual spread.
Okay.
The spiritual spread stays the same. We're all the same before we come into the earth. We're just this beautiful, energetic essence of who we are before we breathe air. So we travel a certain thing when we have a certain card. We can now look back to the spiritual spread. What's the bigger picture that we came here for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what that helps with. The
Mm-hmm.
life spread, though, there are a bunch of cards within this system that stay permanently in their spot. They never move. And some are semi-fixed, so they only flop back and forth. And the rest of the cards actually cycle through the whole chart. So I have up to 90 quadrated charts. I use a textbook now that I was given by my mentor, but she taught us how to quadrate them every year for
Oh
ourselves.
my.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
So
it's a process.
and do you start that at the beginning of the Gregorian calendar or when's your start?
Yeah, so I would say it's not to do with the Gregorian calendar. It's to do, this is really if you're looking to come out of the matrix,
Yes.
for
You
a
know,
lack,
this is my topic
yeah,
lately,
for
coming
the
out of the
lack of a
system.
better word, because I'm
Yes.
not like big on the matrix. But anyway, if you're looking to come out and operate in a different way, this is actually telling you to operate from birthday to birthday.
Oh, so it's individual per person.
Individualized per person for
Oh,
whatever, like, so if I'm born on April the 15th, 1977, and I carry the signature card, the Six of Diamonds.
okay.
And so my birthday is from April 15th to April 15th. This is how I operate now. This is how I got out of the Gregorian calendar. Now, I also have to kind of keep an eyesight on the Gregorian calendar because I have family members that are still working in that kind of aspect, but not for super long. And I understand how I move in a much more fluid way from my birthday to my birthday. So I know what my own individual seasons in a year are, if you want to call it that, or
Hmm.
periods, open windows of evolution.
Hmm. And I'm going to throw a curveball that you know I love talking about because I've been posting it all over socials.
Yeah.
What is the significance of the day of the week that you were
Yeah,
born?
that's beautiful. Now, because I said this was an astrological and numerological system, then the planets start to come into play. And so the significance of the day you were born is your Mercury day and how Mercury influences you. So we can look at the calendar and we know, for instance, Thursdays are ruled by Saturn, according to I think the Western astrology systems. Now, I personally on a Thursday, it is my Neptune day. So now I know in the collective Thursday, Saturn is kind of ruling that, but my own self, my own individual signature is more Neptune. So it's a lot more dreamy. It's like it doesn't really like deadlines on this day. It kind of like wants to be a little bit freer. It can deal with structure, but I'm always dreaming about what's coming next. I'm always thinking ahead and forward. And I'm also trying to delineate any illusion I've built up around myself or my identity. Because that's what
Hmm.
Neptune wants to do. And so the
Hmm.
day you're born indicates your own energetic flow from Mercury, the little inner planet, all the way out to the outer planets of Neptune.
Okay. You want to hear something fascinating I haven't told you yet? So I shared with you this part you do know. I
Yeah.
love to work on Saturdays, and I happen to be born on a Saturday. And you were like, "Yeah, of course, it's the beginning of your week and all of
Yeah.
that." So I asked my daughter, I said, "Honey, if you weren't thinking of anything, like don't think about how much you love volleyball and what day of the week that's on and anything associated with anything. What day of the week do you love the most?" She's like, "Don't think of anything." I said, "No." She's like, "I can pick any day." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I love Thursdays, Mom." She's born on Thursday. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the day she took breath on this planet. It's the day that she came in and was incarnated into her body. And so it's a natural day of like, oh, I feel my best here. Because trust me, we don't always feel our best in some of the other planets, but Mercury really wants to bring back your own sharpness, your essence. Your mind is sharper, right? It's working with you in communication. And so I
Ah,
love that. I love that. So there's no coincidences in my world. I believe in synchronicity. And so my favorite number my whole entire life has always been the number seven. And when I got my first numerology reading, I found out I'm a life path ruling seven.
there we go.
Right? The numbers are always communicating with us. And now what this system allows us to do is go, okay, well, for you, Heather, for me, I'll use myself as an example. You're a six. Six likes these kinds of things. You think about the line of the card, it's realigning. I'm always realigning myself. And I'm avidly aware of my financial inlay and outlay in my life. That's what a six of diamonds will. Like they'll really know their financial debt to income.
Hmm.
They'll either be really bad at paying their bills, me, when I was in my unconscious state of life, and then or they get to the place where I'm at now, and I used to overpay because I never wanted to be in debt. I didn't want to think, oh, anything. Now I'm actually very much more methodical. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I know when they're all due. I don't have to prepay it. I can just like put the money aside. I pay attention and I just pay what I know I need to pay. But I'm also very aware of what I'm owed from other people. I don't
Mm-hmm.
make that a detriment. I just kind of realign myself all the time. So sixes are a very karmic number in all of numerology. They're one that wants to bring lesson. They're one that wants to create legacy. It's also the number of the lovers in the tarot deck. So you can look at the deck of cards in the tarot deck and the minor arcana are very much connected. But
They're
tarot
all
came out
connected.
after this came out. And the reason this system has been hid, it was always kind of managed by the old Brotherhood, the Order of the Magi, and the only textbooks really that you can find right now are both written by men. And so there's never really been a feminine lens on this system until
Mm.
like the last, I would say, probably 5 or 6 years, because every class I've been in, every training I've been in to the day is all women. And we're going to put a different spin on it. But the reason it was never brought in a big way out into humanity is that it was just kind of one of those secret special sauces that like powerful men and organizations would utilize, I would say, in some aspects, potentially to manipulate society, and in other aspects to empower the people, but to know
Mm.
the cycles and rhythms that they were going through.
Well, here we come because we know about it now.
Yeah, because they really wanted it to be word of mouth. They didn't want it to be mainstream. They didn't want to, and so now more people been given the okay. And so now it's kind of starting to come back out into humanity right in time for everything that's unfolding in the last basically 9 years that I've been
Mm.
10 years I've been studying it, and more people are starting to understand and see it.
How did you find it?
My mentor. I was literally a networking group. Somebody put her hand out. They could see I was struggling in network marketing. I got started coaching with this my mentor Joy, and she's the one who really and had discovered this system. And had done some training with Robert Lee Camp, who is the most published author around this information. And she had done some training, I guess, had gotten the go ahead to start teaching. So when they decided to open it up, so whenever the Brotherhood and the Magi just said, you know what, now humanity can come into this because it's not going to scare the shit out of them, but it's actually going to be a part of the awakening process, the leveling up of consciousness on this planet. And that I literally had a numerology reading, and then it just went from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you use it every day like you would tarot, or do you just use it on your as your calendars on your wall?
Hmm. I will pull cards every day, like tarot, and just kind of get an essence of my day. I love showing people how to do a weekly pull. You know, you want to look at your long range, you want to look at your Pluto card, which is always like the one that's going to challenge you the most. And then you fold out for the 7 days. You like go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And you can kind of do that like for play for yourself. I also have a program that I can look at what actually is unfolding, but I love
Hmm.
the intuitive hits of like the cards that come out are much more at play. That
Mm.
tarot, that nuanced aspect of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then if I'm really looking like for some more accuracy, I'll look exactly like in my system. I'll be like, oh, that okay, that makes sense, right? That's what's happened. That's the lesson that I'm here to learn today.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's
wow.
really a beautiful system in helping us see how we, as flowers, open up.
Hmm. Hmm. And we're going to talk about that next time because we're going to be talking about a birth card
Yes.
and or a contract, if you will. And we're
Yeah.
going to be talking more about how that incorporates in our life and what does that mean. And we're going to go through each little aspect and get to know.
And I'm going to ask for your permission because if you are open, you get to be the guinea pig.
You know, I'm always open. You know, I'm always the guinea pig on these shows and I'm fascinated by it. So,
Perfect.
of course.
It's so much easier for me to demonstrate that conversation. It's like I'm doing a live reading essentially here, right? Because that's really what it's about. Is you and I will be in that zone. I'll look at your chart, will give you some insights onto like where you were, like what your birth card is here to indicate for you. And we'll just kind of roll from there throughout these shows. We'll just kind of get all these little mini readings in. And then if there's anyone else in our community with Sovereign, that is interested to be like a case study on this, and they're more than welcome.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely get
Yeah.
somebody on at some point, and maybe our final show will invite a couple of people on that you've connected with that you'd want to do like a round robin with or something
Yeah.
along those lines. Okay. Well, for anybody who is absolutely fascinated by this, you can connect with Heather in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com. All her details are also in the show notes so that you can find her and definitely connect with her because you can see how fascinating she is and her energy is just so magnetic. But definitely like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things so that you can follow along with this show over the next year. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really excited to share this work and to share this system with people because I do truly believe it is a process of those that are really looking to operate outside in a new way. This system can 100% help us land into a place of more ease. And I will be sharing in our community a lot more as I'm in Neptune right now. So I'm like, how do I want to share this in written form? How do I also want to share this in the podcast?
Yeah. And as we untangle from the matrix, that's my favorite thing right now.
Yeah.
All right, my love. I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, thanks, Nicole.